2023 has been an incredible year for the Nintendo Switch, but has it been Nintendo's best year ever? Let's talk about it. Alright, so today I want to talk about 2023 for the Nintendo Switch, just how dang incredible it has been to be a Nintendo fan, even outside of just the Switch. I mean, the Mario movie coming out was certainly a landmark moment for the company as a whole, but specifically talking about the Switch and the software released, there's been a lot of talk in the online spaces recently. Is 2023 the Switch's best year over 2017? I also would personally put 2022 into the running for that, at least just for my preferences: Pokemon, Xenoblade, Splatoon, Bayonetta 3, of course, Switch Sports, my beloved. But 2017, 2023, those seem to be the fan favorite years of the Switch. So I wanted to talk about just how incredible this year has been, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that kind of gets lost in the shuffle. You know, I did that video a couple weeks ago called Nintendo Doesn't Miss, where I talk about Mario Wonder, Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4, Metroid Prime, and Future Redeemed primarily. But there's a lot of other games that are slightly less reviewed, or slightly lower reviewed in terms of their Metacritic score, that I feel like people have already kind of forgotten about. And I want to talk about this idea that 2023, while maybe it's not my personal favorite year, I'm just kind of playing like the commentator here. I'm not saying this is my favorite year of Nintendo, but it really might be Nintendo's best year ever, which is just really crazy. So let's go over this release lineup first here, because, I mean, starting off in January, we had Fire Emblem Engage, which is not everybody's cup of tea, but certainly it was so well reviewed. I think it has over an 80 on Metacritic. I personally like this game more than Three Houses. I know that's not the popular opinion. Most people prefer Three Houses. Three Houses is also just a much more popular game, had a lot more hype and build up, I feel like, too, in that regard. But Fire Emblem Engage, if nothing else, I think definitely has the best gameplay of the modern Fire Emblem games. They really refined that gameplay and the strategy elements and brought a lot of that stuff back that was missing in Three Houses. So Fire Emblem Engage, starting off the year in January with a new game like that. You know, you look at January and a lot of past years, you know, in 2022 we had Legends Arceus, which was, in my opinion, equally exciting. But like other years, we got freaking Tokyo Mirage Sessions or New Super Mario Bros. U. So to get a big game like Fire Emblem Engage right off the bat, even next year we're getting another Code, which is exciting, but still an older game being remade. So getting Fire Emblem Engage at the top of the year was just incredible. And then into February with Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, but also Metroid Prime Remastered. Two remakes, but two really good remakes. Metroid Prime Remastered gets a lot of love and attention online, as it deserves, because it is an incredible remake of that game. But I really think that Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe actually gets overshadowed a little bit. I think it's one of the best 2D Kirby games, not just because Return to Dreamland was already great, which it was, but the stuff they added to it, the quality of life they did, the visual style, I think is fantastic. I think Return to Dreamland Deluxe really is, you know, I think I talked about this in one of my other videos. Would this be considered a remake or a remastered? I think people would look at it and be like, oh, it's a Wii game, so it didn't really need to have that much done to it, so it's more of a remaster. But I don't know, man. They really did a lot to this game, and there's no reused asset. Everything is completely new. So yeah, Return to Dreamland Deluxe, I thought was downright incredible. One of the best 2D Kirby games, if not my favorite, right next to Planet Robobot. Of course, Forgotten Land still holding that supreme title. Then we move into March, which, this is what I was talking about with like those lesser known things, or like those titles that people just kind of already forgot about. Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. That game was really good. I didn't really see anybody talk about it. It's obviously very niche, but still a very good game for that hardcore crowd, the people maybe that aren't just going to Walmart buying Switch games, but for people like me that cover Nintendo so extensively, seeing a game like Bayonetta Origins even exist at all because Nintendo gave Platinum the funding for it, gave them the green light to go ahead and make the spinoff for Bayonetta, which is already a very niche game, was really cool. Not everybody's cup of tea, certainly not really like Bayonetta at all. It is completely separate. It is a child's storybook kind of just action game, but I really enjoyed it. It was a nice change of pace, and you know, you could argue maybe it shouldn't have been $60. There's that whole debate, but I liked Bayonetta Origins quite a bit. Then we go to April with, of course, Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. This is the one release this year that I actually just actively didn't really enjoy my time playing. Of course, I haven't played Detective Pikachu Returns yet, but Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, I played it, and I was like, not really for me. I like the strategy gameplay of Fire Emblem, but I like it because I get attached to the characters. Even if the story and Engage isn't great, getting attached to the characters is part of the fun, and it makes the strategy, it just elevates that strategy gameplay even more. So if you remove the emotional connection you might feel for a character and just make it pure strategy gameplay, I know some people love that. Advance Wars, I just think for me personally isn't it. I also think, you know, the art style wasn't quite it either from Way Forward. I don't think they did a bad job, but I think they just maybe lack that direction that Advance Wars probably needed. So that one you could argue more of a miss, but still seeing Advance Wars come back. Of course, it was supposed to come out in 2021, which is insane to think about, but seeing that come back is nice at the very least. And of course, in April, we also had Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed. And, you know, this year kind of mirrors 2022 a little bit in some of its DLC releases. So Future Redeemed, you know, of course, we had Xenoblade 3 last year, which was incredible. Future Redeemed, currently it only has 12 reviews on Metacritic, but it actually is rated higher than Xenoblade 3, which is crazy. I don't know if I would go that far. I loved seeing, you know, Rex and Shulk, of course, come back with the new character Matthew and then the new cast of characters as well there, and all the references between the first two games. But it's incredible, man. Like I said, I don't know if I'd put it above Xenoblade 3, but in terms of DLC, it is like the top absolute highest tier quality of what a DLC could be, because it really is its own game. I wish Nintendo had propped it up as more of an actual release like they did for Torna. I guess they felt that this year's lineup was so packed anyway, they didn't really need to do that. Or maybe they were just like, it's kind of like, you know, with Torna, you could kind of play that on its own without playing Xenoblade 2. For Future Redeemed, you literally, like, if you don't play these other games, man, I don't know what you're doing. So maybe that's why they didn't like treat it like its own standalone release. Maybe they wanted to make sure you played Xenoblade 3 first. But regardless, Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed, one of the best DLCs I've ever played, if not the best DLC I've ever played. And that's just Monolith Soft keeps cooking and making absolute bangers. So I'm excited to see what they do next. And then in May, of course, I just posted a video about this yesterday. Tears of the Kingdom came out. Regardless of what some people online might think, I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is an absolute, just incredible game. One of, if not the best Zelda games for sure, better than Breath of the Wild in pretty much every way, and delivered on, I think, a lot of people's expectations of just Breath of the Wild, but now they can refine it, now they can fine-tune it and add a lot to it. So Tears of the Kingdom, obviously the first half of the year was kind of just dominated by the hype cycle for this game, so to see it come out and actually deliver on a lot of those expectations for people was really exciting, and I mean, this game's clearly a frontrunner for Game of the Year, right next to Baldur's Gate 3, so Tears of the Kingdom, not much needs to be said there, just an incredible game. Then we get to June. Everybody want to Switch, you know? Everybody want to Switch exists. But here's the thing. And I feel like when I made that Nintendo Doesn't Miss video, people like to cherry pick these things and be like, oh, because that released, this makes this year bad. Everybody want to Switch, while not good at all, I think it is worse than 1-2 Switch, which is crazy. It doesn't really take away from the year. Like, it is just an extra thing. Everybody 1-2 Switch, like, if that hadn't released, there wouldn't have been another game in June. It was just an extra thing, because we actually did get another thing in June, being Pikmin 1 and 2 HD. So, I don't know. I feel like everybody 1-2 Switch being bad, like, yeah, sure, I guess maybe they shouldn't have released it. But at the same time, it doesn't replace another game that could have been there. Like, if everybody 1-2 Switch hadn't existed, it's not like we would have just magically gotten a new 2D Donkey Kong game in June. I feel like it's harmless, and while it could have been better, it doesn't really hurt anything by being there. It doesn't detract from the lineup just by simply being bad, because this lineup is already so good. I mean, halfway through the year, we're already looking at a new Fire Emblem game, 2 incredible remasters of Metroid and Kirby games, an awesome new Bayonetta spinoff, Advance Wars Remake, the best DLC we've ever gotten for a Nintendo game, in my opinion, with Future Redeemed, and then, of course, Tears of the Kingdom. So, for 6 months in, I don't think 1-2 Switch being there detracts from that, really. And then we move into the second half of the year, where some of these games still aren't out yet. Pikmin 4, I think for most people, they would say this is their favorite Pikmin game. There's always going to be those people that prefer Pikmin 3 because it was a little bit more strategy focused, a little bit more urgent in what you had to do. Pikmin 2 fans, I'm right there with you. I love Pikmin 2, but Pikmin 4 really brought that series, I think, to a new just audience, really. I mean, Miyamoto hyped up the camera angle change, but it really did change the way the game is played, and everything is just so smooth in that game. I would say it's the best Pikmin game, me personally. So, I mean, hey, Pikmin 4 doing its thing. I wish maybe we'd got some DLC or something, just something extra added to that game, but regardless, Pikmin 4 was an absolute banger. I'm excited to see sales numbers for it. We should have a sales report here in the coming weeks, so I'm really excited to see how Pikmin 4 did. And then, of course, actually, we ended up getting the physicals for Pikmin 1 and 2 a few weeks later in September, a few months later. But then in September as well, we got another game that I think a lot of people have already kind of forgotten about, F-Zero 99. This game took over my life for like 3 solid weeks, and admittedly I haven't played it much since then. I haven't played the newest batch of tracks they released. I think they already said they're done releasing tracks to it, but they will still keep updating it in the future with more cups and all that. F-Zero 99, while not a traditional new F-Zero game, as someone who has played F-Zero on the SNES, has now played F-Zero X, and still needs to play GX, F-Zero 99 while yes, if you're not looking for a multiplayer experience, obviously you're not going to like it. If you want a single player like race against AI game, you're not going to like this. But for me, as someone who likes racing games but also really likes multiplayer stuff, F-Zero 99, and this might be a whole separate video, I think is the perfect marriage of Nintendo battle royales, because Nintendo hasn't done a shooter battle royale like everybody expected them to do with like Splatoon 2 or 3, right? But making a racing game a battle royale, just this really chaotic, a game that was already fast-paced and hectic just in of itself, but adding 99 players to that is just such an ingenious idea. The game also being remade completely to look like the SNES game, but also have its own kind of unique style with their 3D models. The game looks fantastic. I mean, I would like to see more SNES games remade like this. F-Zero 99 was just such a pleasant surprise that, while, yeah, it's not like a tentpole major release, it just adds to that list, man. It just, this list keeps growing. We have Bayonetta Origins, then you have Advance Wars, then Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe, Fire Emblem Engage, but also F-Zero 99 and Pikmin 1 and 2 HD. Like, these are things that people aren't really talking about. They're not in the conversation for, like, best Nintendo game of the year, but I really, really enjoyed this game. And then we move into October, which is, you know, we just left October. Happy November, everybody. We just got Detective Pikachu Returns, which probably around the same tier as like Advance Wars Reboot Camp, and well, maybe that's mean to Advance Wars. I shouldn't say it's the same tier. Detective Pikachu Returns, from what I've heard, is not very good. At the very least, it's just like kind of mediocre and looks bad. I am going to try to play it before the end of the year because I'm going to do a video ranking every first-party game this year. But Detective Pikachu Returns, once again, kind of like a take it or leave it scenario. We did get the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC, which people seem to really enjoy, of course, barring any technical difficulties with that game. And then we move to Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which, at least for me, I can look at Mario Wonder and pretty safely say that is the best 2D Mario game. I love World. I love those classic Mario games. I even really like New Super Mario Bros. But I think Wonder is just completely on a separate level. I think it's one of the best Mario games on Switch, if not the best, even above something like Mario Odyssey. I think that's how quality Mario Wonder is. Maybe not quite. Like, at the very least, I think they're equal, for sure. But I would maybe personally put Wonder above Odyssey, just because it's just that good. I wish maybe there was a little bit more to it, like maybe it was a little bit longer or something. But for like a 15-hour game to 100%, I thought Mario Wonder was just absolutely incredible, making it, in my opinion, the best 2D Mario game. So we're getting the best 2D Mario game, the best Pikmin game, arguably the best Zelda game. I know people prefer the 3D Zelda and 2D Zelda and all that, sure. A fantastic remake of Kirby, a fantastic remaster of Metroid Prime, and a great new Fire Emblem. That's really good. And that's all that's out right now. But I would be hard-pressed to really find a year that is much better than that. And of course, this year we still have WarioWare Move It and Super Mario RPG coming out. Super Mario RPG, you know, not to discredit WarioWare, I'm sure it'll be great. Mario RPG could actually be really good, though. Like, that could be another game that people are like, wow, this was one of the best years ever, and that could be part of the conversation. WarioWare, realistically, probably wouldn't be. And of course, Mario Kart DLC throughout the year. But looking at Fire Emblem, Metroid, Kirby Remake, Tears of the Kingdom, Pikmin 4, and Mario Wonder, I look at other years of the Switch, and for me, 2017 might be a better year with Breath of the Wild, Odyssey, Splatoon 2, and of course stuff like Pokken Tournament Deluxe and ARMS. So 2017 might be a better year overall, but like Odyssey isn't my favorite 3D Mario game, for example, right? But Mario Wonder is. Breath of the Wild probably would have been my favorite 3D Zelda game at that time, but now it would be Tears of the Kingdom or Wind Waker. I always got to say that. You could argue 2017 is better. I would also maybe argue 2022 could be a better year, depending on your tastes. Pokemon Legends Arceus is not the best Pokemon game, but it's the best Pokemon game in a long time. And then, of course, we also had Scarlet and Violet, which, take it or leave it, was... barring, like, if you remove the technical issues from Scarlet and Violet, those would be pretty dang good games. But even beyond that, I mean, we had stuff from Square Enix, which we didn't really have any published stuff this year from other developers, like, well, aside from Platinum with Bayonetta Origins, of course, but last year we had Triangle Strategy and Live Alive, which are both fantastic games, although I didn't love Live Alive like everybody else. I don't know, it just wasn't for me, I guess. But Kirby and the Forgotten Land, best Kirby game, came out last year. But then, yeah, you have, like, Switch Sports and Mario Strikers Battle League, which aren't great. But then you have Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes, which I think is the best Warriors game we've ever gotten. Then Xenoblade 3, which is probably the best Xenoblade game. And Splatoon 3, which is the best Splatoon game. Then Bayonetta 3, which is the best Bayonetta game, and I'm not backing down on that. Bayonetta 3 is easily the best Bayonetta game. So 2022 for me, I would maybe rank it above this year, but it's that close, right? And in that case, with 2022, we're talking, okay, the best Xenoblade game, the best Fire Emblem Warriors game, the best Kirby game. And 2023, we're talking, okay, the best Pikmin game, the best 3D Zelda game, the best 2D Mario game. Like, just a little bit higher stakes versus 2022 overall, I would say. But it really all comes down to preference. The point of this video is, overall, you can compare Switch years all you want, because it's fun. I'll probably do a separate video ranking every Switch year, because I think that's fun. 2023 has been an absolute banger of a year for Nintendo, and also just this entire Switch generation. The past 3 years, or 2.5 years, since Metroid Dread release, and I talked about this, has just been a constant cycle of just absolute bangers. Yeah, you have stuff like Mario Strikers Battle League, and everybody wants to Switch in there, but there's so much other stuff releasing that at least for me personally, it doesn't detract from the lineup. I don't think of 2022 and think, oh man, Mario Strikers Battle League was so bad. What a bad year for the Switch. No, I think of Xenoblade 3, Splatoon 3, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and Legends Arceus, right? So people like to nitpick and really hone in on that negativity, but if you look at the bigger picture and you look at the amount of quality games Nintendo's been releasing this generation, it is incredible. 2023 has been incredible. 2022 was also incredible. 2017, of course. 2019 even maybe could be argued as one of the best years of the Switch. I would say those four are certainly the top tier, upper echelon of the Switch. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think 2023 has been the best year for Nintendo? I think the argument can be made if you are a big Zelda and Mario fan, certainly Pikmin fan, if you like Fire Emblem, if you like Bayonetta, and of course, I mean, Mario RPG is not out yet, but that is literally like, yeah, it's a remake, but it is a dream remake. People have been begging for that game to come back for pretty much as long as I can remember. So 2023 really does almost feel like the year of dreams. It's not the year of like, oh, we're getting Final Fantasy VII Remake and Last Guardian and Shenmue 3, but it's the year of Tears of the Kingdom delivering on its expectations. A new crazy 2D Mario game that no one expected to be as good as it was. Pikmin 4 finally coming out. I mean, 2023, while it's weird. In practice, it felt more like a low-key year going into it, even with Zelda. It felt like this year was going to be just the Zelda year. But Nintendo has delivered on a lot of other stuff this year as well. So, like I said, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Do you think 2023 has been Nintendo's best year ever? Or do you think that would go to 2017 or 2022, or maybe some even further off year? I was looking through. I don't really think there's any console generation that even really compares to the Switch. So, like, you could argue maybe, like, what would it be, like 2004 or 2003? I think 2004 with the DS and like a couple other games that came out that year, like that maybe. But I don't know, man. Maybe 1992 with Link to the Past and Mario Kart. I don't think so, though. I think it has to be one of the years of the Switch that would actually be Nintendo's best year ever as a company. Plus, if we're ranking it beyond just video games, this year is definitely their best year because of the Mario movie. Like, as like a company and releasing product, they opened Nintendo World in America and Hollywood. Like, it's a pretty dang good time to be a Nintendo fan. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'm rambling at this point. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo Switch news, reviews, coverage, discussions, all of that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BotoxGames. And until next time, folks, peace.